This is a Valve just changed the hardware game forever. And the reason why this is important, at least from my perspective, I'll get it up. There we go. Yeah. Is the fact that we all know hardware costs have been ridiculous, especially with the increase in memory. And say what you will, I happen to like my AI slop very much. I'm not gonna give it up anytime soon. But I'm really curious and kind of excited to see what Valve has solution-wise. So let's see what's going on with them.
For years, if you wanted to play real PC games, you were locked into a very specific box. You needed an Intel or AMD processor. Windows was the gatekeeper. Then, Valve released the Steam Deck and proved that Linux was ready for the big leagues.
I think Linux has always been ready for the big leagues. I think we all know that. Oh shit, I just realized something. Hold on, guys. Let me reload it one more time.
You needed an Intel or AMD processor.
There we
Windows
go.
was the gatekeeper.
Yeah, it really was. Intel and AMD, those are the only two platforms that you could really go with, or processor platforms, to basically help there. Hello, Kathy. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the raid. Love you guys.
Then, Valve released the Steam Deck and proved that Linux was ready for the big leagues. But yesterday, Valve did something even more game-changing. They didn't just update Proton, they released the first official ARM.
Holy shit. This is okay. I think they're going to explain why this is a big deal. Because that'll save me breath from explaining it.
64 build. They have officially unlocked the most played library in the world for a completely different architecture. We are talking about SteamOS on standalone VR headsets like the Steam Frame and a new generation of ultra-efficient handhelds. Today we're diving into the Proton 11 beta. We'll examine the NT Sync change that's delivering a 600% performance boost to some games, the implementation of FXEMU, and why this is a clear signal that Valve's next hardware is right around the corner. Before we get to the ARM magic, we have to talk about the core change. Proton 11 is a massive rebase onto Wine 11.
Okay, in case you guys don't know what Wine is, wait, are they going to explain it? I think they're going to explain it. But basically, Wine was a way to play Windows games and Windows applications to run them on Linux systems.
Star of the show here is something called NT Sync. If you've been following Linux
I got top
gaming
loader,
for a
nice.
while, you've heard of eSync and fSync. These were workarounds used to translate how Windows games talk to the CPU. In Windows, games use NT synchronization primitives. Linux didn't have a native way to understand these, so Proton had to translate them on the fly, which created a massive performance bottleneck. With Wine 11 and Proton 11, we finally have NT Sync. This is a native implementation inside the Linux kernel, specifically kernel 6.14 and later. Let's just look at the numbers from some early developer benchmarks, because they are pretty absurd. Dirt 3 went from 110 FPS to...
Look at these numbers. Fall of Waters went up 125% improvement. Dirt 3, a 678 improvement. Warcraft Temple of Osiris, 131% improvement. Resident Evil 2, I assume that's the remake. 196 improvement. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. These are like older games, but yeah. 177% improvement.
860. That is a 678% improvement.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Jumped from 26 FPS, pretty much barely playable, to 77 FPS. Tiny
You get to keep the games, damn right.
Gains from 130 FPS up to 360. Now, to be clear, it's not like you're going to see a 600% jump in something like Cyberpunk 2077 on your Steam Deck today. Those massive leaps are happening in games where the CPU was the bottleneck, but
I still need to finish Cyberpunk. I mean, I got one ending with it, and I know all the endings are kind of the same, but one of these days, when I get my second CPU, I'm I'm going to have two CPUs, two computers for streaming, one just for running OBS and one for running the games. So that should solve a lot of problems. Because I'm rolling in the dough. That's a lie. I'm rolling in no such dough. You got all the endings. Yeah, I have seen all the endings, Bones. I just it's different when you experience it yourself, you know. Movies, it was ruled in U.S. courts that you know, the movie transfer to whatever media you want to watch. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have the right. I think the same also applies to our music media. So, for example, if I have a CD, I have the right to make copies of the songs, whether it's like to iCloud or MP3s or FLAC or what have you. I have the right to do that because I physically purchased the media. Now, what they don't teach you is how to do that. That's a whole different, that's a whole different situation.
For every gamer, this means lower latency, fewer micro stutters, and much better frame time consistency. Valve developed.
Oh my God, Microsoft. That's exactly why I stopped participating in Guild Wars for a guild in Where Winds Meet. Not because I didn't enjoy it. It just, I was getting so many micro stutters because of frame drops, and not even because of my hardware. It's just because of the like the lag, not even on my side, but server side, because we were getting paired up with teams that were like freaking like on the moon. So our ping was ridiculous and stupid. And I was like, I'm just getting frustrated, so I'm gonna step out, let somebody else in. Bone says I'm excessive about saving, so I was able to go back and redo saves to get all the endings. Luckily, nailed the hidden ending for the first run without planning to. That's awesome. If it's a hidden ending, I think it is. That's a cool ending.
Developers have often talked about removing the friction between the player and the game, and NT-Sync does that exactly. Beyond the speed, we have massive compatibility wins. Games that were previously stuck in experimental or just flat out broken are now officially supported. We're talking
that's
about
awesome.
classics like the original Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, and Shogun Total War. Valve is making sure that the entire history of PC gaming, not just the new games, travels with us.
Dude, that's fucking goated. That's this is why Valve continues to win without really having to do anything except putting the player first. I know it's a cringy expression. I know fucking GameStop coined it first by power to the player, but it really feels like Valve lives to that, like literally, because they are gamers themselves. So why would they want to have to be fiddling with all this shit? They just want it to work.
Into this new era. So now let's go into why this update is actually a really big deal, and that comes down to Proton 11 ARM64.
Okay,
this
good.
is the secret sauce. The problem with ARM chips, the kind that are in your phone or even the Meta Quest, is that they use a completely different instruction set architecture than the x86 64 processors in your PC.
So this is CPU. This is what a lot of us have been using standard for ages. And this is really old tech. And I'm surprised, honestly, because I hadn't built a computer for maybe like 2 or 3 years. When I came back to it, and my brother was helping me build a computer, and he pulled one of these out. It's like the pins were a little bit smaller, but the same basic like structure of it was the same. Hey, Rhino Rocks, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate you, buddy. I was surprised. I was like, wow, it's just not much has changed in regards to this. And he's like, well, we have M2 hard drives now instead of IDE hard drives. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm aware.
To fix this, Valve has been quietly sponsoring a project called FexEmu, which we have covered before on the channel, but if you are unaware, Fex is a high-performance user space emulator that translates x86 instructions into ARM instructions in real time. With Proton 11, Valve has officially baked Fex 2604 directly into the compatibility layer for the first official time. The latest 2604 update focuses on two things: memory savings and x87 transcendental optimizations. Many ARM handhelds like the Odin 2 or Retroid Pocket are limited to 8GB or 12GB of RAM. Fex 2604 introduces
that's always my issue. So a while back, I had the opportunity to take a look at an Odin 2 for review purposes. Not myself, but a company, a company I was working with And I liked it, except that it really gets throttled with only 8 gigabytes of memory, or at least the version that we had access to.
2 or Retroid Pocket are limited to 8 gigabytes or 12 gigabytes of RAM. VEX 2604 introduces major memory usage optimizations that allow x86 games to run without hitting that out-of-memory wall. For games like Fallout New Vegas, which rely heavily on old
Oh my god, Fallout New Vegas has such a big fucking memory leak. Oh my god, it was almost unplayable. Like Skyrim also had the same memory leak problem, now that I'm remembering correctly. It's like if you played too many hours without but basic, I don't know if it was counted by doors or items in the inventory or something, but if your save file got bigger than, I think it was like 8 megabytes or 12 megabytes, it would just like stop like letting you save. It would tell you it saved, but just wasn't saving anymore.
x87 math instructions, VEX offers up to a 3.7x improvement in specific operations. This is essentially Valve's Rosetta 2. When Apple switched
That's okay. I've been kind of behind Steam myself as well. Don't worry, credits.
to their own M1 chips, they had Rosetta to make sure your old apps still worked. Valve essentially just did that, but for the entire Steam library. The barrier
That's
for
awesome,
different
man.
hardware is now completely gone. This isn't just about Valve, it's about a broader shift in the industry. Microsoft is heavily pushing Windows on ARM with Snapdragon X Elite and X Plus laptops.
I actually have a lot of experience with the Snapdragon cores, so that's kind of interesting.
Complete with their own x86 translation layer called Prism, but now Valve has introduced an alternative with the new Proton 11 ARM64 build. What gives Valve a unique long-term edge in this situation is their full control over their stack. SteamOS, the Proton compatibility layer, and the VEX translation layer. This tight
In case you guys don't know what the stack is basically how things are compiled. So that they have the freedom now to basically streamline it and make it more efficient. Xbox should have won the console wars. The Xbox One, yeah. The 360, I would say, and I hated the 360. Mine spent more time red ringing and getting fixed than I did actually like enjoying it, if I'm being completely honest. Because of the red ringing 360, I bought a PS3 and just stopped buying games for the 360. And not because I didn't like the original Xbox. I love the original Xbox, but yeah, I don't know. After the 360, I never bought another Xbox console.
integration allows gaming-specific optimizations that are much harder for a general-purpose operating system like Windows. If installing SteamOS on a Snapdragon device delivers better gaming performance, battery life, or simplicity than Windows 11 for many titles, gamers will have a very clear choice. Valve is quietly making Windows optional for the next wave of efficient mobile and portable gaming devices. And Valve's reasoning comes down to the Steam frame and future hardware.
Is that legit? Are we getting a Steam frame? Oh my god.
The Steam frame and future hardware like the Steam Deck
I want to dead this.
2. You cannot put an x86 processor like the one in the Steam Deck into a comfortable VR headset. It's too hot, it's too heavy, and the battery wouldn't last that long. ARM is the only way forward for
I hope so, man. I mean, like, I am very familiar with Linux. I've never gamed on Linux. I think I tried to once. I was disappointed. So I have a Windows install for, when I'm streaming and stuff, just because it's easier. But I'm very familiar with Linux. I would love to see Linux be a proper competitor, because I think the main thing that keeps Linux back, because I know a lot of people, VTubers as well, that love Linux. I'm not saying Linux is bad. I have a soft spot for it, but if I want a game, I need to be on a Windows client, at least at this point. So I'm hoping this strips all that away.
wearable and handheld tech. In an interview with Japanese media, some Valve employees said, if we can own our own hardware and pursue a better gaming experience, we can offer high value without waiting for third-party companies to respond. So by
Yeah, exactly, Rhino. That's what I heard too. That I mean, okay, I'm very familiar with Linux, but there's a lot of really easy, I'll say, like starter builds you can get if you want to like start learning Linux. Like I think Mint was a really good one. Oh shit, what's the name of that other one? Thank you for the head pats. Um, Mint is a oh shit, my brain just completely spaced on it. But yeah, there's a lot of easy builds that you can get that are more like X focused, aka Windows focused, so you can start learning the coding and kerneling and so forth. It's not impossible, but I would definitely think if you wanted to start learning Linux, you should definitely install it on a second partition or a second device. If you are hesitant about messing up with anything on your Windows PC, like if you're not familiar with partitioning yourself, just get a secondary device. You can get something cheap. Go to like a Goodwill, get like a clunker computer, load Ubuntu on it, the one that launches from USB, and just start fiddling, start learning. That's the best thing I would say. Yeah, I think Mint is a good entry point too, and that's why it stuck out of my head right away too.
By building Proton ARM, Valve is no longer.
I know there's some other ones. I think, is it Rock Candy or Sugar Candy? I know there was another one. So one of my friends was telling me that it's another good like entry contender, and I was like, I don't know. Mint's always worked for me.
Longer waiting for AMD or Intel to make a low-power chip that works for VR. They can now use the world-class mobile silicon from Qualcomm or even other custom ARM designs. So this is the hardware roadmap, and Proton 11 is now the software foundation that makes that hardware possible. While we are waiting for the Steam frame to actually check this all out ourselves.
Okay, so the Steam frame has been confirmed. Geez, I'm gonna have to get a bigger studio. Especially if I want to do some like VR shit.
The community is already losing its mind. If you own an ARM-based handheld like the Odin 2 or the Retro Pocket, your device just got a massive upgrade. The developers of Rocknix have already integrated official Steam support. And
oh,
then
wow.
there's also the Nintendo Switch. Because the Switch runs on an NVIDIA Tegra ARM chip, gamers have already managed to get Proton 11 running on modded Switches.
Oh man, I wish I would have fucking known this. I got rid of my Switch like maybe a couple of months ago back because I hadn't used it. If I would have known I could have hacked it to run Linux. Oh well, the more you know, right?
Just hours after it was released. Now, before you go out and buy an ARM device, we need to talk about the catches. Proton 11 is currently in the beta branch. That means
as I would
bugs
expect, yeah.
and other potential issues. This is for the early adopters and the tinkerers who understand it's not fully ready yet. But just like every other version of Proton, there will be continuous updates to constantly improve the software. So it will really only get.
You got one with a Switch? If you got a Switch, more power to you. I loved it until I stopped playing it.
Get better from here.
Mainly because I got suckered into the I think it was like paying the $20 or it was $30 a year to get like the Nintendo Plus online to get access to the retro games. I like playing them in HD, and then the additional, I think it was like $50 to get access to more stuff, more like more games for different platforms like TurboGrafx and stuff. And I was like, cool, I'll throw all that money down. And then I just like I stopped using it after about a month, and I was like, oh geez, this is a huge waste of money.
Then there is also the problem of anti-cheats. Even though Proton can translate the game,
yeah, I don't play it much either. Oh, I don't have it anymore, so yeah, it makes sense.
Get them running, it still can't always translate kernel-level anti-cheat software like Ricochet or Vanguard. However, for 90% of single-player games and many titles, the future is.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I mean, I don't own a Steam Deck. I've had opportunities to purchase one, but I've elected not to get one because of work reasons. Where, you know, when I'm working, I want to focus on work. But I think a lot of people who get Steam Decks primarily do it for the single player games, not necessarily for the multiplayer. I can't speak for everybody. That's kind of why I'm asking for feedback as far as like your guys' use experiences for it. I like, for me, you know, to go back to the cyberpunk thing, like Bones was talking about, like I would rather do it, get a Steam Deck and use that for you know, for like playing a long game like Cyberpunk, or maybe like Tainted Grail. I've watched Ty play that a little bit. It looked pretty interesting. I'm familiar with it, of course, but you know, games like that are probably what I'd play more on the Steam Deck than an online game. So that doesn't really bother me much.
Is looking bright. So this is why Proton 11 is actually
Also, entirely side tangent, I never understood the point of putting anti-cheat software on a single player game, but whatever. Yeah, I do use it for that in emulators. Yeah, I've heard it's really good for emulators, which is actually what really tempted me more than the Steam itself, which, you know, the Steam isn't bad, but you know what I mean.
a very big deal. We're watching Valve dismantle the final barrier to PC gaming. For decades, PC gaming meant being tied to a desk or carrying a heavy, hot laptop. The Steam Deck changed that, but it was still tied to the old x86 architecture. Proton 11 ARM is
Yeah, there's a few games that have anti-cheat for single player. It's not many. They kind of like stopped doing it, but there are still a few that have anti-cheat for single player games, which I think is just retarded. Because it's like, if I want to cheat in my single player game, then I'm going to fucking cheat in my single player game. Especially if it's something, I mean, Hightail doesn't do this, right? Last time we played Hightail, but like in Hightail, we could give ourselves all creator mode and then, you know, go nuts with it. So, I don't know.
Valve saying Steam is an ecosystem, not just a platform. Valve has now lit the fuse for the future of gaming hardware. Would you want a more battery efficient and lighter Steam Deck too? If you are interested in the future of gaming and any Valve news, don't forget to
This is awesome. Like, this is probably a little like too tech savvy for people, but I certainly love it. Console Command Kings, yes. Especially if it's a game, to comment on that, Rhino, that you've already played like thousands and hundreds of times, and you just want to say, you know what? Let's stick around with some no clipping, or let's stick around with some God mode. Let's see how these people freak out. I remember the original Half-Life, the parts where like the soldiers would storm in after the halfway point. You know, and they're supposed to be like instant kills just about for you if you're not prepared for them. It was fun, you know, after I had beaten that game several times, to go back and, you know, turn on God mode and just see them freak out as they're like kicking you back and like shooting you and throwing grenades, and you're just like, ha. But yeah. Yeah, well, emulator is easy to import in Steam Deck all the way up to PS2. Wow, that's cool. I have a pretty extensive PS2 library. All physical games, I assure you. I might stream some though. I'm thinking about it. Would you guys like to see that? Like, have like a chill Friday night type of stream thing? I think that'd be fun. We play like small retro games. For anyone who's not tech savvy, hold Control Shift on. Oh no.